Welcome to Sportsify. I'm your host, Matt Novak. Alongside me, as always, Grant Hawker.
Always, baby.
You did that just for the NFC West.
I
We
know.
got another celebration coming. On the third mic is Jameson DeFore.
How about that?
Yeah. I wish you all the losses. And the only person that I'm probably going to enjoy this conversation in particular with, my good buddy and fellow 49er fan, Mike Connor.
Maybe don't get your hopes up too high this time.
I know that you are absolutely the Eeyore of 49er fans. Like, you are the worst when it comes to this. I swear to you, though,
And this is why I love Nick.
If you pick the Cardinals to win more games than the 49ers, I
Like
will
the
literally,
Cardinals?
we're going to mute him, Grant. We're going to mute him.
It's fantastic. I'll never come back to the show.
But
No,
anyway,
I get that.
we're going to let you get right into it. I am pumped for the NFC West division breakdown. We've been breaking down every division. This is the last one. We always save this one for last because we are fans of the NFC West. We know a lot of you are. And so we're excited to dive right into it. We are going to argue today. We are going to disagree.
If I had boxing gloves.
All the other teams not named the San Francisco 49ers as we start this discussion. Go for it, Mike.
All right. I'm just going to start this off by saying this is a defensive-oriented division. Our defenses, all of them are going to be really good, I think. I think they've improved there. The teams that are younger, Seattle and the Cardinals, they have defensive-oriented coaches, right? Second-year coaches. They're coming in. They looked pretty darn good last year. They're coming in to improve. I like what both of those teams have added to these defenses. Let's go ahead and just jump in right into Arizona here, where they added Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, and just coming in, just let's bring more into this. They got some backup linebackers for rotational needs. Let's bring it right back in. Let's draft Walter Nolan, who's going to miss a few games. But when he's in, he's a difference maker at defensive tackle. And one of my favorite guys coming into this draft, Will Johnson, they got in the second round, cornerback. He's a stud, and he's going to be healthy. He's going to come in. Yeah, so good. And you're just looking at this, you're like, wow, there's no way this defense doesn't get better, especially with a defensive-minded coach. The offense is the same. They're hoping that another year of Marvin Harrison Jr., another year of Trey McBride, Kyler Murray actually getting healthy from his ACL 2 years ago. That's what they're all hoping on right now, that he's able to be a little more mobile than he was last year, extend those plays. I'm gonna advocate for this team. I say they're going to be better. They will be better than last year as far as how they play. As far as win total, I still got them at 8 wins. A couple of games that they're going to get. They're playing the AFC South and NFC South. You got to give them a couple of those wins from those easier teams. And I truly believe that this division is going to eat each other alive like they do every year. The Rams are going to drop one to the Seattle Seahawks.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Like they shouldn't.
Yep.
Yeah. The San Francisco 49ers always lose to the Cardinals. No matter how bad they are, they drop one of those games. It's just going to happen.
Eeyore.
You're
That's
just going to
just
lose
true,
one of
though,
those
bro.
games. It's just true. And that's fine. That's fine. But I have it at 8 wins, which is it's their under. I have them in last place in the division. What do you think?
First of all, I'll say thank you for that, because some people are absolutely stupid for.
We'll get to your team in a minute. We'll
Yeah,
get to your team in a minute.
But I've been Cardinals hater, and I think will continue to be a Cardinals hater because Kyler Murray is their quarterback. And I'm sorry, but when does the new COD come out? Black Ops 7 comes out this
November.
year.
That's usually when he checks out.
But
Yeah.
I do think the ACL thing is definitely a thing, but dude just craps the bed. Like, when you need to win games, like one of the games that they needed to win to stay in the playoff hunt was their second game against Seattle in 3 weeks. And he opened up the first 2 drives with 2 picks and just sunk that game within the first half of the first quarter. And I think that will continue to be a trend. And until like we talked about with Patrick Mahomes, until he proves us otherwise, until Kyler Murray proves me otherwise, I don't really care. I don't
disagree with you.
Yeah, that's my take.
I don't disagree with
You use the word hope a lot when you talked about what this team is looking forward to this year. They're hoping. They're hoping these guys will fix these little things. They're hoping this. They're hoping that. They're hoping that Marvin Harrison Jr. turning into the Hulk will help this year. By the way, I actually do for fantasy purposes. He was on the list. I didn't get him, but he was on the list. I was looking for him 100%. I actually don't hate that. I do agree with the assessment on the ACL thing. He's a much better passer, obviously, when he's at 100.
Yeah.
And we saw his ability to stretch plays, move in the pocket, obviously be hindered this last year. We'll see what he can do when you really plant hard and throw the ball. But yeah, man, 8 wins is what they are. They do not have the defensive studs to stay in games and get those stops late, and he does not have the weapons. Really, like he doesn't have the way. James Conner has shocked all of us. He continues to impress every year.
Touchdown machine.
I don't understand
Well,
what is going there. Like
30 touches a game for whatever reason. He just goes.
And he just keeps coming back. And that's fantastic. Don't love how Trey Benson came out last year. He needs to step that up for them. They used the 3rd round pick on that guy. And in terms of production and drop passes, he's supposed to be a scat back type guy and get you downfield in the pass game. Don't love what he did. So, this is a hope and a prayer. 8 wins sounds right at it. But you're right. They are playing weak divisions. So, makes sense.
Yeah.
And that'll be the case for all of these teams. That's easy schedules for all 4 of these teams.
Some of the easiest schedules in the league is right here. So as far as percentage wise from last year for win percentages.
Yeah. And my thing with the Cardinals this year, I definitely agree. I'm glad you brought it up, Grant. There are a lot of people that have, in the same way where some people have this for the Giants, or for better reasons, some people have this for the teams like the Broncos or maybe for the Raiders. So like this could be the surprise team. And for some of those teams, I don't see it. Some of those teams, I do see it. This is not a team that I see that for. There are some people out there who are having this as a second place team in the NFC West.
And guys,
there's people who are having this as a wild card team.
It happens every year. Every year they're going to start. They start 4-2, and people are like, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win the division. That's what they did last year.
Which is
and then they fell apart.
My point.
Like
that's
every
exactly
year
my
happens.
point here. Yeah, my point here too is like looking at their schedule again. I always hate to schedule watch, but I think it's important, especially when you look at a team like the Cardinals and you look at the schedule that we do have in the NFC West this year. You start with the Saints, you start with the Panthers. If you're not 2-0 there, that's going to be an indicator, because after that, guess what you do? You go play at the 49ers, and then you get a home game versus the Seahawks. So boom, right back into the NFC West. But then you have the Titans and you have the Colts. A couple weeks later, you play the Cowboys. Yeah, they're going to, I think they're going to be some fool's gold, similar to last year. They beat the brakes off the Rams early when the Rams weren't like either fully healthy, which they certainly weren't, but also hadn't figured out what they were going to do just yet. They're gonna do that to some people this year. I think you're gonna hear some pretty asinine takes after those first few weeks where you're gonna say, wow, look at the Cardinals. Are they the sneaky pick for the NFC West? Are they gonna be making some noise and getting into the playoffs? And as we know, that's not going to be the case. You finish that season, and to finish out the season, you go Seahawks, Niners, however you feel about the Jags, they play the Jags, Bucks, Rams, Texans, Falcons, Bengals, Rams again. Like, that's not the most difficult thing when you look at some of those defenses, but that's still not a very fun way to end your season when you're starting playing teams like the Colts and the Titans. Exactly. And you can't keep up with a team like the Bengals, even if the Bengals defense is not good. And you're not going to be able to get past a Texans defense. That's going to be that's going to be the point where finally people are going to jump off ship and we're going to say, hey, welcome aboard. We've been here the whole time. What took you so long? My other thing there with Kyler, he is sometimes that annoying little weasel that gets away from you and makes a play here and there. But it's the age-old thing. Like, unfortunately, just by the nature of the game, you can have all the arm talent in the world, but unless you're Drew Brees or Doug Flutie, like the short quarterback syndrome is like a real thing. There's only so much sometimes you can do as a short quarterback. And apparently they want to do some more designed quarterback runs and that kind of thing. And sure, that's fun and cute, but don't love that for his health.
He's older now.
Don't love that for his health. He's more of a quick guy than a speed guy now, in my opinion. And I like, as much as I like what they've done with their defense, like Calais Campbell, by the way, round of applause, Calais Campbell, you're still doing
home.
It.
And he's going home. He's going back there.
And he's going home. I do like bringing in Josh Sweat. Buda Baker is an absolute stud. Yeah. Will Johnson, as you mentioned, love bringing him in. I was hoping that the Rams would have picked him up. And so I think you're going to see some improvements there on defense, but I still don't think it's enough. And especially on the offensive side, I just don't think you're going to have enough to stay in some of these games. And honestly, I think 8 wins might be generous. So I'm kind of leaning like seven wins with probably an 8-win ceiling. But to me, this is clearly, aside from a disaster with one of the other teams here in the NFC West, which injuries have happened to at least 2 of our teams fairly consistently. Yeah. Like, maybe they don't take last place because of that, but they're not going to take over a third or second place because of their ability to do that.
And that's exactly where I'm at. I think that the coach is doing a good job, and he's building his team. We see that they're bringing in defense. He's building his defense up. And I think as gets his fingers in this team, they start to get an identity. I don't think they quite have that identity yet. I think this year they start to get it. Defensive-minded coach running this ball and having, hopefully, I think they're just going to ask this offense not to turn over the ball. That's the identity they want, is hand the ball off to James Conner, get Kyler Murray out there, don't turn over the ball for us, and our defense is going to do a job. I think that's kind of what they're looking for. I think I agree with you, all of you. They're not there yet, right? They're not there yet. The competition in this division is a little too tough. And so I do have them in last place coming into here. 7 wins. I'm perfectly fine with that. I gave them kind of 8 wins, and I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks as my number 3. And I got to tell you this, Grant, I really looked at your team. I'm looking at this, and I'm just like, you know what? They made some improvements. I like it. Sam Darnold doesn't wow me at all as your starting quarterback. Your interior offensive line is still a little questionable to me. You got the new rook that you picked up from Montana State or whatever it was. North Dakota State, sorry. But I don't even know. And just throwing that out there. But I still think you got some interior problems. Your defense looks like it's going to be good. I just don't think you have the horses to keep up with the other two offenses. I think that's what it is. I think the defenses are going to be very similar. I have the Seattle Seahawks going back over here. I had them at a 9-win, 10-win team, 9 wins, really, and maybe looking at a playoff spot in the last couple of weeks. But I had them as 3rd place. I'm just going to throw this over. Let's go to Matt first.
Clear it out.
We'll end up with Grant. We'll clear it out, and then we'll get back to Grant. There we go.
I'm not far off of it. What we saw from coaching this last year was such a huge change. I see this team go just a defensive mindset all the way around. I was genuinely surprised they moved on, or how things fell with Gino and Sam, and how that worked. That was a little bit of a shock. I watched Gino do some stuff that was pretty surprising at times, and became, I think that was his best playmaker self that I've seen out of Gino was this last year. So again, the shakeup was a little surprising, but yeah, we can't not talk about the fact, and I agree, the price tag was too much. She lost DK. Yeah. And that's a stretch the field playmaker that I know at times does not catch the ball when he should. And that's a big part of being a wide receiver. I think it's literally the first part of being a wide receiver. But you can't just say they have JSN, so it's fine. It's not. It's not. And we didn't replace all of that playmaking ability that DK is. Will the identity be different? Probably, yeah. And I think if you're just looking for this team to look like they did last year, that was not the goal, though. And I'll speak right at that and say that's not the goal. They want to grow. So this is a team with a different mindset. I think we are going to see a true 2-headed monster at running back. I think Charbonnet's earned the right to be a 1B and might surpass. I know Grant's probably going to bring it up and be a 1A. There's a lot of people, a lot of conversation about that. That has to do with a few different things with Kenneth Walker and his inability to do certain things that this offense is clearly installed. That identity is going to change. I got him right at 10. I think that's a solid number for them as they continue to grow. You can't negate also not just the loss of DK, but the installation of a new quarterback. That's a big deal. Yeah. Sam Darnold had one great year under one of the best quarterback whisperers in the league, and we'll see if that success can be replicated. I think that's clearly the biggest question mark. Defensively, not concerned for them. They're going to do just fine. It's the offense and the identity of that offense.
Justin Jefferson's not on this team.
Amen to that. And neither is Addison, who's an incredible playmaker.
Yeah, and Torrey Horton, your guys' rookie, is not DK Metcalf.
Bro.
He's not that physical guy. He's not.
I'm talking about
He's
Matt's
coming at me about Addison. Dude, Addison
over JSN.
Really good. I don't know what you're talking about. Bro can't stay on the field because he's suspended, but he's really good.
I know he's really good.
I would take JSN over Addison.
I'm taking JSN over.
I would take JSN over Addison. Nobody's saying I wouldn't.
So then why are you saying that?
No,
because
those are two different players.
JSN's your number one.
JSN. The reason I'm saying it is because JSN is not the playmaker that Addison is. He is a great system guy in what you guys do. But dude, it's the leap catch. It's the holy crap on the out of bounds.
Yeah.
It's all that. Dude, he's And I'm not saying JSN's not going to have a few of those, but Addison's more of that than he is. It's a different style. But dude, if you're asking me straight up, JSN.
That's what I thought.
Want for my offense.
That's what I
He's
thought.
A volume receiver that gets the ball downfield. He plays a very much a Mon-Ra ball. Very much so. Inside out rather than outside in is his style. And I get it, dude. That I would want him too. I'm just saying Addison's a great receiver and a different thing. You don't have an Addison on this team right now. I don't.
I'm gonna squeeze in because I want to let Grant, like I said, I ISO ball top of the key and just everybody give him some space. A couple things I just want to say real quick before I pass it over is, for one, not really excited to play the defense or the defensive scheme. I'm going to say that right now. I know that to me, I think this is a hot take, but there are a few people that I've seen out there who are posing the hot take of Seattle's going to have the number one defense. I don't think it's that, but we know that coaching on defense is going to be crazy. Like, I'm still losing my mind over the fact that he's not even with the Ravens anymore, with what the Ravens were trying to do and win a Super Bowl. So still don't love that. Offensively, I'm not a secret big Sam Darnold skeptic. I think my biggest thing is that quarterback change. I think Geno, again, pretty underappreciated by a lot of people for what he could do as far as just, again, playmaking. I think he was a good playmaker last year, but he's just the veteran presence, cool, calm, collected, might not be the most flashy guy. Again, might not be a box score shiner, but I think going from him to Sam Darnold, who, again, I had Kevin O'Connell as coach of the year and Sam Darnold nowhere near any sort of awards or accolades for the reason that he was playing Madden with Sam Darnold's body. And I don't think you're going to have that here. We saw what happened the 2 times he played the Rams. Not great. By the way, you're going to play the Rams 2 times, and you're going to play other mean defenses here as well, mostly in San Francisco. Cooper Kupp. Let me just get this one out of the way. I feel like that's the elephant in the room here. I had to bust out the Cooper Kupp shirt for this episode because I knew we'd be talking NFC West. I love Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is not what Cooper Kupp was, and it was a very clear and obvious upgrade for us to let go of Cooper Kupp to get a Devontae Adams, and he's going to be great in the run game. That's not going to change. Like, I am going to miss that, and I am jealous of you having that 2-headed monster that is going to have a blocking wide receiver who still can do that at an elite level. Still might put up some yards, but he's not the guy. And I love JSN, but when your wide receiver 2 is a Cooper Kupp, I think that makes it a little bit easier to put some focus on JSN, make that difficult. Again, for a quarterback who I don't think is a guy who can just spin it wherever he wants to spin it on his own without having those things schemed up for him. So I think they're going to feel a lot of pressure there. That being said, I still do think that they're a 10-win team. Again, our schedule for us this year, very favorable.
Yeah.
And I still think that Seattle is pretty good. As a matter of fact, I do think, depending on how some injury things play out for the other 2 teams we'll talk about, I think they could have a shot at taking second place in the division because you lose a key guy on one of those other teams. This team stays healthy. Maybe the floor of that defense just lets you get through and you run the ball, beat the crap out of people on defense, and maybe Sam Darnold makes a good play here and there. 10 wins, pretty good. I'll give them the 10 wins for sure, but I think third place here, I personally say you could flip them with the Niners potentially, but I think third place is probably where they belong.
Yeah. Yeah.
They still push for a playoff spot.
Oh, yeah.
I have them pushing for a playoff spot. I think this defense is that good.
Yeah. For me, like, I think that I've been making faces or whatever. I'll just say with this thing first. Actually, my stat of the week is this. I know we haven't really done that yet, but the San Francisco record over the last 5 seasons, regular season, is 47-37. The Rams record the last 5 seasons is 47-37.
I could take a guess.
And the Seahawks record is also 47-37. I think this division is as wide open as it's been in the last couple of years. I really do, because I do think that some of these teams are emerging. I'm really high on the Seahawks this year for just a couple of reasons. They were 4-2 last year against the NFC West. They won 6 of their final 8 games. I think they have the best defensive scheme and defensive coach in the league. I think they have the best secondary in the league. And I think that their depth at D-line is crazy. Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, just to name just a few of those guys. They're weak at linebacker. The thing with Sam Darnold is that he is in the Clint Kubiak offense, which is the same. It is the same offense that he has thrived in and learned under Kyle Shanahan, and he comes from that tree. This team is going to run the ball, and they're not going to ask Sam Darnold to do what he did in Minnesota and throw it as much as he did. They're going to run the snot out of the ball this year because Clint Kubiak is actually going to commit to that. Last year, the Seahawks were like the worst run game in the entire league. They were like 30th in rush attempts, 30th in like yards per attempt. They were horrendous. And that's what happens when you have a college offensive coordinator trying to be cute and do all this stuff. With the genius of this system, the McVay system, the Shannon system, is not giving them a million looks. It's making everything look the exact same and then going off and doing a bunch of million different things from it. That is how you run an offense in the NFL. Like in 2025 and in this era of football, everything looks the exact same. So they have significantly upgraded on offense and the offensive play calling. Torrey Holton, who they drafted, he is the take it off the top guy. He kicked MVS to the curb, which honestly probably isn't too hard because Marquez Valdez-Scantling isn't a whole lot to shout about, but he's the screamer. He's the take the top off the defense. They got him for a steal. I love them upgrading, getting Nick Emenwari in the second round, trading up and getting him, who I had as the best safety in the draft. And I think that this offensive line, because of what Clint Kubiak and his scheme, it suits an offensive line. And I finally think that with Gray Zabel, I'm not saying they're going to be great, but they're going to be significantly upgraded at the interior. Abe Lucas is not coming off of an injury to start the season. He's fully ready to go. Charles Cross and Abe Lucas are really great. Charles Cross, one of the best young left tackles in the league. Abe Lucas is super underrated because he's been injured the last year and a half, but his rookie year was actually better than Charles Cross, his rookie year, statistically, pressures, all that stuff. So I think that the cohesion is there. They're not going to ask Sam Darnold to do a lot. And also you get a guy for a cheaper price who's also 7 years younger than Geno. Sam Darnold is still 27 years old. And if he can not throw if he's throwing the ball 20 times and they're rushing it for 30 plus, like this offense is going to be just fine with that. I think they're going to be just fine. I think this is going to be an upgraded offense in total, maybe not personnel. I am not losing sleep on DK. The dude catches, he's had 900 yards the past like 2 years. He's not all that everybody is saying he is. Tyler Lockett had 600 yards last season. Yes, it's a loss in terms of culture, but a lot of the guys that also would know him are gone also. So this is a brand new team, finally, for the first time since Pete Carroll's been gone. This is the brand new team. And I think the team's going to win 11 games. I think they're going to improve their total. I think they're going to win 11 games. So honestly, not that far off from you guys.
I will say one other small thing is you have the best name for a wide receiver like on this team. Jake Bobo.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
phenomenal.
Bobo season.
When I hear the announcers have to say his name, one, I usually hope it's like a negative thing because usually if I'm watching the Seahawks, it's against
You want
49ers,
negative. Yeah.
Or I just want bad things to happen to your team. But I just giggle every time I hear that name.
And also he's hilarious. And
He
every
freaks
team would love to have a Jake Bobo on their team. But
So fun.
so I'm honestly not that far off from you guys.
Yeah.
I just have them at 11 wins. I think they're going to improve. That defense is looking. The only thing, they're thin at linebacker. That's my only concern on the defensive side. But I think Mike McDonald's going to surprise some people this year.
With you saying that is the really one of the biggest reasons that their linebacker spot is why I think these other two teams are going to be above them. And you're going to see I have these records really close, and I think we all probably do.
Yeah.
But the 49ers and the Rams specialize in picking on linebackers, right? With their short pass game, with their
Tight
outside
end.
scheme runnings, with their tight end game. This is Puka Nacua eats linebackers for breakfast, right? And this is why you might struggle in some of these games. You're going to stop the run pretty well in the middle. Yeah, nobody's going to try and run the middle of you. They're going to make your linebackers chase them to the edge, and you guys are weak there. And so I think that's where a lot of this difference is. Hey, we're going a little deeper here on the Sportsify podcast today, but that's what I think it is. And so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I've got the LA Rams finishing second place. Look at you, Matt. You thought I was going to flip it. You thought I was going to flip it. I got the LA Rams finishing in second place. And I think at the end of the year, I think the Rams and Niners will actually be tied. And I think the Niners will have the tiebreaker is really how I have it here. As far as what you added, Devontae Adams, great. Awesome. It's phenomenal. It's an upgrade from what you lost from Cooper Kupp.
Fair.
Honestly, Coleman, Shelton, that center depth, great. Bring it. You might miss a little bit of Jonah Jackson, I think. That's okay. Let's see.
Eric Jackson. Jonah, we had two Jacksons. Jonah Jackson went
the other one.
to the Bears. Yeah,
the other Jackson.
I think,
but
ESPN says he's active, but he's coming back from the blood clots. So yeah, who knows?
We'll see how that. Yeah, we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
I am a little concerned, and if any quarterback can play through any kind of injury, it is Matthew Stafford. I'm sorry, I will never get over watching that dude as a rookie with a dislocated shoulder throwing a winning touchdown pass, walking over the sideline, pointing at his shoulder. It's out. It's done. I can't throw another pass. And walking off, winning a game like you with a
getting knocked
shoulder.
out in Detroit a couple years ago, and then still finishing the game and just throwing dimes.
If anybody can play through pain, it's that guy. But having some dislocated discs in your back, that's tough to play through for a whole year. And I think you're going to struggle. If Garoppolo has to come in for any games, you're probably losing those games. And you're probably go with Stetson Bennett and what instead and try to figure that out.
That's a serviceable backup.
With a good coach. Like
with a good coach, I will give you that.
Could be a lot worse. I think could be Stetson Bennett, but it's not.
Yes, there you go. I will say Kyron Williams, I think, is going to eat because you guys are bringing in a LaFleur to bolster and retool some of your running game to be more of the Shanahan system with even more and more. They're expecting more and more running more. And which is why I'm like, Stafford's going to be okay because he's not going to, like last year, he's not going to be asked to throw for 5,000 yards again. And so I think you guys are going to be fine. As far as your defense, you have a young defense that has just gotten better and better. And I expect you guys just to continue down that exact same. You guys drafted a couple guys that aren't even going to be able to start. Like you've got all your defensive starters already. You're going to keep going.
Bring in Puna Ford.
Yeah, I just bring it right there. Exactly. And so you're just upgrading. I like what you guys are doing. I like your defense. I hate that you're the Rams. Then I'm saying that I like what you guys are doing. But I feel like you guys are right. You're right in that 11-12 win spot. I think that's right where you're at. And lo and behold, I think I have the Niners at 12 wins as well. And mostly because of their schedule. I think they're going to struggle early on. But I think down the stretch, the Niners will be fine. But we'll get to that. But yeah, what do you think, Grant?
Yeah, I think like most things, it's this back thing. That's mainly it. But I think this team, they got better. That defense, holy cow. Like
tackles are so good, and you bring in Puna Ford.
Yeah, I just wonder what this team would have been if they didn't F all those picks because now they draft insanely well. So yeah, I think that defense, the hitting on those picks, I think the Devontae Adams is going to be huge. It just feels like a perfect marriage with Stafford. Like it really does. It's almost like this should have been a thing before. But yeah, you upgrade. I mean, that's probably the best wide receiver room in this division right there with those two. So I love that. Kyron Williams, there's not a whole lot of holes for this team. I think that they're going to be in the running for this division. I think, I got nothing really to add differently.
Offensive line. It might be the best offensive line in the division.
Yeah. Could.
Yeah. And that's part of that push against Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as position group, like anything like being weak, I don't love the tight ends. And there has been some expressed frustration at times with Higbee, either with his ability to stay on field or catch crucial balls thrown his way here and there. I think there's some fairness to both of those concerns. But yeah, man, if Jared Verse doesn't have 15 sacks this year, I'm going to be shocked. No thanks on that defensive front. No freaking thanks. Don't want to see him. I hope that you guys line him up over Trent Williams every time he plays the 49ers. For the love of God, please don't put him on Colton McKivitz. And not that Colton can't hold his own against guys. He sees the best of the best every week as the Niners are playing at right tackle because that's what every team does. You run your guy at the right tackle. But dear God in heaven, Jared Verse is really good at football, you guys. That defensive front in its entirety is scary. The one thing I would say is it's not crazy deep. There is some depth here and there. And yes, I would agree that the unit of the offensive line, the starting offensive line, is really good.
It's really good.
But this is a team that genuinely has some depth concerns. Starters are good, but some depth concerns in different position groups. I agree that 1-2 punch is the best 1-2 punch in the wide receiver room. But when you look at that second tier, Atwell is a great playmaker. I know they're going to run 3 out there all the time, so I'll put Atwell as starter. But if you look at, they got Whittington, Mumpfield, and
don't
Smith.
sleep. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, don't sleep on Jordan Whittington. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I'm not saying he's bad. But I am gonna say there's just not a ton of depth. You need your guys out there. I know that's true for every team though, and I don't want to nitpick at that crap. There's depth concerns in some position group for everybody. Nobody's completely loaded. So yeah,
Unless you're the Eagles.
To Mike's point, Stafford's a real concern, and I think that's the biggest concern. Otherwise, Mike would probably have given them first place, and I might have to consider doing
place until I heard he was getting shots in the back. Like honestly, just for pain. Like pain management's a real thing, and that's getting one of these freaking giant epidurals in your back just for pain management is like that's not sustainable.
Yeah, and that feels like the difference maker there. Again, a little bit of depth stuff, but the quarterback position for me, I'm like, that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah. I don't disagree with your win total here. I probably would have had them at an 11, 12 win team, and ultimately it does come down to what is Stafford going to look like. And more so my concerns with Stafford is that later second half of the regular season, less the beginning of the season, and also less the playoffs if they're still in a playoff picture, if he does come up with something later in the season, because when it's the postseason, he's going to show up and he's going to put it all on the line and he's going to ball out. And his body is going to hate him later for doing that so many times, but he's just so good at it that he probably doesn't care. That is ultimately the big red flag for me, because again, all things considered, very favorable schedule for all of us this year, which makes that, I think, feel a little bit easier to know that it's also not, hey, Stafford's got a back thing going on. Oh, and also you guys have a gauntlet this year. That would have been pretty rough. Obviously, I'm loving this offense. I'm loving this wide receiver room. Devontae was not on my bingo card, and ultimately, like, losing Cooper Kupp wasn't either, but I think the writing was on the wall. He didn't really do a whole lot for us last season.
That was a lot of money, man. That was a lot.
It was a lot of money. I love you, but this is objectively the correct thing to do here, and it is also objectively an upgrade. Devontae Adams is a walking 1,000-yard receiver, despite all of the ups and downs of the past couple of years. He's going to play across Puka Nacua. That is not going to be a fun duo to go against at all levels. And I didn't hate the Tutu out, giving him $10 million a year. I don't love it, but he's at least going to be able to stretch the field a little bit, be a bit of a speedy vertical threat.
Yeah, his plus minus, bro. I mean, his playmaking ability, and then what he can do on is he still going to be your returner this year? Like, my bad, I didn't look that up.
I mean, I would. Right now, we have Jordan Whittington as our kick returner,
and
so
Joshua
I think with him
Cardi as punt return.
Okay.
Joshua Cardi is our
Can
so
field $10 million for that. I don't think that's that bad, honestly. In today's market, he's making a third of a number one.
Yeah, and if he's wide receiver 3, I don't feel bad about that. I do think like you might have some more insight to Terrence Ferguson compared to me, because not watching the Ducks, not watching college football really all that much to kind of see what he's bringing, but having a little bit of depth there behind Higbee. Like, our tight end situation the past couple of years after he got his knee blown out was not great. And so I know Sean McVay loves having at least a couple tight ends back. Curious to see what that's actually going to look like if they're going to be able to stay on the field. Again, for me, on the offensive side of the ball, it's really just about health, because I think you're right that the tail of the tape with the Rams for basically this whole regime has been like depth is not always the strongest suit there. Obviously, we're drafting more than we're trading and acquiring players, but still, obviously, if Stafford goes down, as much of a Jimmy hater as I am, at least there's a little bit of depth there to make me feel okay about a week or two should that need to happen in the middle of the season. And then it doesn't
look at that guy's win-loss record. That's all you need to look
at. It doesn't get completely derailed. And again, like, this isn't Jimmy G playing in Vegas. This is Jimmy G playing under McVay. We've seen what he can do under Shanahan. I would expect something similar if that were the case. The offensive line, if they stay healthy, again, I feel good about that. So that with the Rams, it's a if they stay healthy game on the offensive side of the ball. Stafford really being the big red flag there. Defensively, man, this was probably the most fun. Obviously, it's not like Aaron Donald's been retired a long time, but to go from Aaron Donald to now going to what we have here feels pretty good, because that is just like an unfillable gap in your roster when you have a guy like that, hang him up. But to go from having that to now having the Jared Verse, Braden Fisk come in and do what they do, admittedly a frustrating start to the season, just couldn't finish. They had all the pressures in the world, but just couldn't finish. And I think that kind of overinflated how quote unquote poorly the secondary was playing, because when you get all these pressures and then you have people escaping the pocket, extending plays, it is it becomes very difficult at that point to cover in the secondary in that way. So I think some people might underrate this secondary, but they're bringing a lot of guys back, which I really like. I really like what Shula's doing with the defense there. So I'm actually in ways where I haven't necessarily been with the secondary since Jalen Ramsey pieced out and all of that. Pretty cautiously optimistic going into this year about what we have on that side of things as well. And if you're a Rams fan, as long as we can keep Troy Reeder off of the field in the linebacker position, we are feeling pretty good about that. I know we're loving Nate Landman. We're loving Omar Spates. So feeling really good about the defensive side of things there. I would have them in first place. I'm trying to not overplay the Stafford thing because I hate to always be, this team's going to be bad because of an injury. But what if the injury doesn't happen? So I'm trying to lean in the positive there. And 11, 12 wins feels good for me. I would have had them in first place only because the next team that you're going to talk about, I would have had just a little less in the win column. But I'll throw it to you so we can get right into the 49ers.
Yeah, let's jump in right in the 49ers. A lot of people are picking the Niners to win this division, like across the board. It surprises me that they're actually one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. And I'm like, for me as a 49ers fan, I'm like, I like my Niners, but wow, that's really hoping for something there. But to be fair, everybody's talking about, but the Niners lost so much. Let's look at there's just a couple of things that they really did lose, right? They lost Greenlaw, Hufanga, Ward, Hargrave, Collins, Floyd. However, those guys were on the team and they were the 29th ranked defense last year. Getting rid of them is not hurting the Niners at this point. Greenlaw didn't even play last year, except for half a game. Hufanga played like 6 games. Ward missed tackles all year long. Hargrave couldn't stop the run. Floyd couldn't stop the run, although he was decent as a pass rusher. Collins was never really lived up to what they wanted him to be. So you're looking at this defensive, and they're like, okay, so what do we do? Let's go draft all of the linemen that we can on the defensive side of the ball, and just all of them run stuffers. The biggest bodies possible that we can find in the draft, stick them on this defensive line and just stop the run. And as far as the offense goes, they don't need to do much to it. Just looking at, we have a lot of questions at wide receiver. MVS being one of our starters this next week, it makes my skin crawl. I'm not liking MVS being a starter.
Bye.
But you've got Ricky Pearsall, you've got Juwan Jennings coming back. I don't mind that. This was still the 10th ranked offense last year, guys. People don't even realize the Niners offense was not bad last year. Without CMC, with the same receivers, by the way, basically, they were the 10th ranked offense last year. George Kittle, number 1 tight end last year, as far as total PFF and everything. You're looking at this team, this offensive line, I believe, got better, even though Banks is gone. Banks was not good last year.
No.
So you're looking at this team and you're just like, okay, the offense is going to be good because we have an offensive-minded coach. That goes back to what I was talking about with the Seattle Seahawks. Your offense might struggle. You have a good offensive coordinator, but it's the first year in the system. Shanahan's had this system running here since he got here for years now. This team knows what they're doing offensively. Defensively, you bring back Saleh. You bring back all these young players. You're going to go back to run stuffing. We have the best linebacker in the league. We have one of the best defensive ends in the league. We have another couple really good players coming in from rookies, Sigel and Stout, come to play on our defense. Our safeties look phenomenal again, and they always seem to be phenomenal. I just don't see how this team doesn't step up as long as the injuries don't come into it, how they don't step up from their 6 wins and jump right back into that 11, 12 win scenario. I don't see how that doesn't happen with this schedule, with this team. Yeah, there's some injury concerns from the start of this season, but our schedule's not that bad to start. Even if we drop one to Seattle, we'll pick one up later when the team's whole again. That's just what I'm looking at. Do not sleep on Brian Robinson Jr., because now even if CMC goes out, we've got Isaac Rendo and Brian Robinson Jr. There's not going to be a whole lot of fall off anyway. So it's reloaded. It's younger than it was last year. We got a lot of the bloat off of that defensive side of price and cost over there, and let them go. And I think this is a better team for it. Saul's going to do his thing. There might be a couple of people by week 4 or 5 might be like, I don't know if the Niners are going to fight what they were meant to be, like they do every year. They struggle at the beginning, and then November, December, the Niners just don't lose because their team finally figures out what they're doing. I don't know exactly. It's just the way it is. So I think that's what it is. I think it's another 12 win. I think they take the division through tiebreakers. And that's what I got. Let's go over to Matt. What do you got, Dan?
Mike, that was so positive, shockingly positive. You're wind in the sails right now. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna
Give us
add
some
a ton
negativity,
to it.
Matt. Come on. I need
swap the roles. Yeah. Be the Eeyore.
No, the one thing he didn't mention on the positive was just Bryce Huff. That's a great get for this system. Dude had a down year. New York asked him to do some stuff that he doesn't do and to play a style that he doesn't play. I expect him to be incredibly successful in this setup where they just let him loose. The Niners do that with their defensive ends. They pack that middle so that those guys can just go hunt. And looking forward to seeing him hunt. I think he's a great fit for that defense. But no, I agree with the assessment on the safeties. I love this team on the defensive side of the ball. Love them. To me, this is a top 5 defense, and not just from a personnel standpoint, but Saleh, Bob is what he is, man. That dude gets it working, and nobody in the league doesn't want to play for Saleh. It's just, that is a guy when it comes to the motivation of defenders and the scheming that he puts out there. And let's not forget, he made Fred Warner what Fred Warner is. He handpicked that guy. So I love the defense. Yeah, I'm concerned about the wide receiver room too. And for people that are like, what do you mean basically the same wide receivers? Debo's gone. Yeah, he is. And as a 49er fan, I loved him for a solid 3.5 years. Loved him. And but the dude had become a liability in certain aspects. The team schemed for him really well last year. It was rough to watch at times. They
stopped blocking downfield.
Yeah, they knew it was coming when it got on the other side of the 50. Like, they knew what we were going to do. And it felt like they were just like, okay, we'll just key in on him. But that was easy to do with Ayuk out, if we're being honest. Ayuk taking away the stretch of the field, or not being able to stretch the field, and taking that out of the 49ers game plan. That was a little brutal. But no, Ricky Pearsall's legit. Juwan Jennings just got $3 million of incentives added to his contract today. And that's a good thing for 49ers. A motivated Juwan Jennings is terrifying. As Jameson saw in a particular game last year, that was unreal.
3 tuds. Crazy. No, thank you.
Yeah, if Tutu doesn't make that play and our defense isn't absolutely garbage, that would have been a much better day for me. But no, I love where the team's at as a whole. Love that CMC's back. Love that you got Brock locked in. It's not a contract that's going to hurt us. By the way, $7 million on the cap this year, and they're going to just continue to work magic with that guy year to year. That's what they're going to do with that contract. It's built to sustain the improved cap numbers that are coming. And when you're not paying Trent here over in the next year or two, whatever that looks like, that becomes even more swallowable in terms of the amount of percentage cap that's going to eat. But no, man, I love my team. I genuinely am looking forward to the season. As a 49er fan, why wouldn't you be looking up? Like, why wouldn't you be excited? Your team's healthy right now.
It was tough.
Yeah, you want Ayuk back, but that's coming, and you're probably going to go 3-1 without him. Just being realistic in that first month schedule. I think 3-1 is very achievable, and then you're just hopefully going on all cylinders. So looking forward to the season, man. I don't have a lot more to add to that. I love it, and pumped for the competition. I'm pumped to play the Seahawks, just not in week 1. That's what I was. Nice. Why are we doing that?
I hate. That's what it's been the last couple of years. Is it's either been it's either we play them like the last week of the season. I hate playing division games at the very end of the season.
Which, by the way, you do first and last.
Yeah, dude, I hate that.
Ridiculous.
But then also,
I don't mind the last, but the first sucks.
And then Jameson, I think it was 2 years ago, we played the Rams twice in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was,
and we did that with the Cardinals last year. Play them twice in 3 weeks. Come on, it's ridiculous. Get them within the first couple weeks, that's fine. But week 1 is rough.
So. Yeah, no, but they're doing it to everybody. We just talked about the Chiefs in an earlier episode. They're doing that to the Chiefs and the Chargers out of the gate. Don't love that, but everybody's getting Eagles. The first game of the year, Eagles Cowboys.
Yep, Eagles Cowboys.
So everybody's having to swallow that pill. So at least it's fair. But yeah,
still
man,
sucks.
I wish our rivalry wasn't kicking off right there in week 1. I've have all the jitters like we would. I would like to play Saints in week 1. That'd be pretty dope. Playing them in week 2. But yeah, it was a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep my Niners talk short and sweet, much how I like to keep it off of the pod as well, because I like to generally keep the name of the 49ers out of my mouth. Really, the only thing when I look at the Niners team that I do have questions about, and I'm, as a football fan just in general, like, I have my fingers crossed here. I just really hope, for your guys' sake and for the sake of football, because he's awesome, that Christian McCaffrey can stay on the field. Because I think in the same way where in Los Angeles for the Rams, like the offense goes as Matt Stafford goes. I think a lot of the times that offense will go as Christian McCaffrey goes because he just is that good. He can do he'll catch a touchdown, he'll throw a touchdown, he'll rush for a touchdown. Like he will do that to you.
Yep.
And I think that is, to me, like the biggest indicator for, is this the Niners team that people talk about of winning 11, 12 games, winning the NFC West, or is this a Niners team that's maybe closer to 10 games? Because yes, you can still scheme guys like Brian Robinson Jr. and Garendo in the run game, and the Niners are just going, again, the Niners could be like, hey, Jameson, we need somebody this week. Can you like fly down to San Francisco? I'd be like, yeah, sure. And then they just put me in a position to get 4 yards a carry. So that is always going to be there.
Just run down Trent.
Yeah, literally. I'm just gonna be like, just like point to me like where to go, and I'll just follow that guy. He's great. Just put a use check in front of me, and I'll just follow the fullback. That'd be awesome. So again, the floor there is always going to be what it is. I certainly don't think it's going to be the year from hell that you guys had last year because of what you did with the defense and being able to turn that around. But that is the big question mark I have on top of the wide receiver room there. I think you guys are just hoping that you never have to actually play Sky Moore at wide receiver at any point in the season. That wouldn't necessarily be ideal. We're hoping that for your sake, Ayuk can come back quickly. I'm jealous that you guys were able to get Demarcus Robinson. I know he's going to be suspended for the first 3 weeks.
Oh, can't wait for that. Dude, he looks so good.
Ask Grant what happened in overtime when we played you guys this year when Demarcus Robinson caught a one-handed touchdown lob in the end zone to seal that one. That was pretty great.
I think you just said
Let's wrap this up.
I need to ask.
Pretty big highlight for me.
Let's keep going.
But the moment you can shuffle in a Demarcus Robinson and the moment you can get back a guy like Ayuk, like you're feeling pretty good about where you're at there. And again, deceptively good offense last year, all things considered. The last thing I just want to say to Mike's point here, this is a team that is not going to do what the Cardinals are going to do and be fool's gold, hot start, cold finish. When you look at their schedule, again, we know that we have a pretty favorable schedule for us this year, but as a Niners hater, it does break my heart to look at the end of your guys' year where things are going to be firing on all cylinders. And you guys are, over the course of the last several weeks, going to be playing the Giants, the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Browns, the Titans, the Colts, and depending on how you feel about the Bears, you're playing the Bears and then finishing with Seattle. Rams are also in there too, but I was just highlighting some of those teams where we feel like those are pretty good. Chalk those up as wins. By the way, last game of the year is Seahawks at home for you guys, as well as the Bears. So that's a pretty favorable stretch for you at that point in the season. And in a division like this where it might just come down to a couple of wins or even a tiebreaker to take it, that Rams-Niners game in that second half of the season is also at home in November for you guys. So don't love that. But yeah, we would have them ideally around that like 10, 11 wins, if healthy, probably closer to 12. And I think same thing here. Rams-Niners are fighting for position there. And again, to me, the big story is Stafford going to be healthy? Is Christian McCaffrey going to be healthy? Okay, cool. Go play ball. Let me see what happens. So I would have them at second place behind the Rams, all things considered. But I don't hate that 11 win total by any means. I'd have them pretty close to the Rams.
My only thing, and then because you guys have all said most of it, is that you guys have, my only thing is, again, I'm not trying to even be like a hater, but is that you potentially have 8 new starters on defense. And defenses usually sometimes are slower than offenses to figure things out. Yes, it's solid, but I think 8 new starters potentially, 7 or 8. That is a lot of new with rookies or free agents and things like that. And I have all the confidence. We've seen Saleh even when he got fired last year. Defense was never the issue, but they're usually just slower to gel and mesh than an offense. So
I did think of one last thing I want to say before we wrap this thing up because I know it's time to go. This is the first, how long, I guess I want to put like, this is the first time in I don't know how long where I could pretty confidently say the Niners have the second best quarterback in the NFC West.
Confidently?
Let's go with that.
This is the first
Let's
time?
go with that.
I think
in a while. When Russell Wilson was in Seattle.
Yeah.
Like you guys had Jimmy G for a stretch there. Like at least in this newer era, Brock Purdy is the second best.
I think since Stafford showed up, I would say he was the best. Like they even, what was that, 21? Because who did the Niners have at that point? Was it Jimmy G still?
Jimmy G.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have taken Stafford over Jimmy G. So I think
that's what I'm saying. But like when Russ was there, I think Russ was probably the second best quarterback in the NFC West, if not the first best
last year
in the NFC West. Yeah. Kyler had a couple of seasons where he's like, oh, well, yeah, he was like the 7-1 Cardinals, obviously, before they peter off. He might be the second best quarterback in the NFC West.
So just to
definitely say that that's where we're at.
Just to push your concerns there, Grant, we have 6 drafted in rookies going up on our defense, and only 2 of them are actually looking to start this week. So the rest of them are going to rotate in and fresh legs.
I'm saying
and that's the depth we're talking about. That's the depth we're talking about. They're not starting, but they're going to rotate in, and this is the depth that's amazing, and I love it. I'm looking forward to it.
Saying new to starting roles? Because
I was saying new to the team.
Oh yeah, there's six brand new guys on defense, and that's cool.
That's what I was saying. Not that they've never started, maybe with other teams or whatever. I'm talking about.
Oh,
that's what I was saying.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I'll take 4 rotational players and 2 brand new starters out of the draft.
I would say the counter to that is Zilla's back, and that was probably my least favorite thing that happened with the 49ers this offseason.
No kidding. One thing I'm not to sleep on, we don't talk a ton of special teams here. This division, just for the record, got some pretty good units. All over the place, like really good units. 49ers had a rough go on kickoffs last year. So they fired their place kicker, who that was his weakness in Mitch Wish, and brought in Morstead to take care of a lot of the. You're gonna see Jake kick the ball out of the back of the end zone. That's basically what we're gonna do this year. So they're like, no more of this Mitch Wish garbage. Jake's just kicking the ball out of the end zone, and then Morstead is much more well known for his elevation and distance punt, which was a big deal. Niners upgraded there. I think that's already shown. Like, he's literally averaging 5 yards further in preseason than Mitch Wish has in any of the last 3 years of his career. So that should be something. But like, when you look at those different units, Rams made some huge plays last year on special teams, absolute like block kicks, return game. That was huge for them. In particular, the Cardinals don't have bad special teams as a unit. And obviously, I'm not sleeping on the Seahawks or negating. I know the push their line's going to get, and so I expect some stuff there. We'll see some fireworks, but this is a whole division that has really good special teams units, and that is a difference maker in the NFL when you're talking the inches game or the single play that makes the difference in all of these one-score games. Look at the Chiefs and how they actually won some of those games, by the way. Special teams a major factor.
Or just flipping the field
position.
Yeah, flipping the field can sometimes win you the game.
And Harrison Butker, plus 50 yards plus. Yeah, we talked about him as a top 3 guy. You look at the stat box, that guy produces over 50 yards all the time. So good teams have good special teams, and I think that's going to make a huge difference in this division. I think especially the 3 teams that we all support are going to do really well in that regard. I know we need to wrap right where we're at. What's fun for us here is, yes, there's some disagreements on some small things, but I think we do see the division really close. This is going to be one of the closest divisions. We love the AFC West. We love the NFC West. And we think those are probably top to bottom, the 2 best divisions possibly in football this year. You could throw in maybe 1 or 2 others in consideration, but it's going to be in the NFC North, obviously. But it's going to be an absolutely amazing year. Cannot wait to see what happens in the NFC West. Cannot wait for football. And we have gone through all 8 divisions. This was our last one today. So thank you for joining us in the journey, those of you that have. And we welcome all the conversation. We want all of it this year. We want to hear from you.
We want the smoke.
Feedback. We want you to come at us about stuff that we screw up. I'm going to throw one in before we close. I messed up when I read something this last week. Congratulations to John Harbaugh on 30 years of coaching. He spent 27 of it in the NFL, as I had to go and reread because I read my notes wrong. My bad. And he's been coaching the Ravens since 2008, which is 17 years. Not shabby at all. But I did oops and say he'd been coaching the NFL for 30 years. I don't know why it didn't sound weirder to me when I said it, because I know how old he is, but my bad. No, we're gonna have all kinds of fun with the conversation. So we invite all of that. We want it. And come at us and tell us when we're wrong. You're probably wrong, but come at us and tell us when we're wrong.
And we'll just hear it. We'll just make fun of you in our text thread.
It's going to be great. Yeah. We love screenshotting what you send us. We love making you a part of the conversation. And to the guy that thought the Steelers are going to have a electric 12-5, 13-4 season, and that we shouldn't hate on your team being the oldest team in the league or anything like that.
With that.
Okay, bud. We'll see you in December. You made the pod. Help. Congratulations. And also, special shout out to those of you dumping Lord Farquaad on every single post. We love it. And you guys are going to hear more from that in week 1 of Sportsify, because we are officially back. Week 1 of the NFL is here. It is happening, and we couldn't be more pumped for it. Join us as we get into the recap of the week that was week 1 of the NFL, and then the week that's coming in week 2. We are going to lose our minds this next week with the excitement. It is the best 6 months of the year. It is finally back. The countdown is over. 1 has become 0. This is D-Day for football. Let's go. I hope your team loses all their games. The 49ers win the Super Bowl by 1,000,000. Let's go, everybody. This is Sportsify, and we will see you this next week.